Hi everyone, I'm going to talk about how you can use Google Spreadsheets to create good data tables and how to put those data tables into your lab report. I'm also going to be covering how to calculate mean absolute deviation inside of Google Spreadsheets. So here I have a data set from a lab. You can see I have a couple of test groups, each of which is in their own column. I've got trials. In this case, I've got 25 trials for each test group. The first task I need to do is I must calculate my averages. So calculating averages in Google Spreadsheets is easy. All I need to do is type into this box equals average, and then I'll select here where it says average, and then I just need to highlight all of the data I want to average. So I'm going to highlight that column ahead, I'm going to close my parentheses, and I'm going to hit enter. One of the strengths of Google Spreadsheets is that if I have a formula, I can copy and paste that formula in order to let me do the same thing over and over again. So here, what I typed into this is equals average, and I highlighted cells B6 through B30. How the spreadsheet will interpret this is take the average of the 25 pieces of data right above this. So if I copy and paste this formula over, it'll take the average of whatever's above it. So I'm going to move, I'm selected this cell, I'm going to move my cursor over to cover that blue box, and you'll see my cursor turns into a plus when I do that. I'm going to click there, hold one finger down, and then drag this across to copy and paste that formula across the way. You can see here that now underneath each set of data, I have the averages. So I was able to calculate my averages very quickly. Now that I have my averages, I can calculate the mean absolute deviation. Mean absolute deviation is a measurement of how much variation there is in your data, whether it's very consistent or whether it changes a lot. The formula for mean absolute deviation is pretty simple. First, I need to calculate each individual deviation. To do that, I'm going to have a column just off to the side from the column that my data was in. I'm going to type into that equals. You'll always start a formula with an equal sign. I want to take the absolute value, so ABS for absolute value, I'll select that, of the trial in the box to the left of where I'm calculating the spread, minus, and then I'm going to type in the number that I calculated as my average. So in this example, my average was 2.5, so I'm typing it in here. You'll notice I didn't click on that cell. Clicking on that cell would actually interfere with copying and pasting this formula, which I don't want. I then close my parentheses and I hit enter. So now I have my deviation for my first trial. To make it do all the rest of the calculations very quickly, I again just need to copy and paste this formula. So I'm going to move my cursor onto that blue box. My cursor turns into a plus. I click and hold with one finger, and then I drag this all the way down. You'll note that because I already had the formula here for average, it's gone ahead and calculated for me the average of all of these boxes. I'm going to do the same thing for each column. So equals ABS for absolute value, open parentheses, the box to the left, minus the number that is my average, which I calculated below. So you can see that came from right here. I close my parentheses, I hit enter. I have my deviation for my first trial. To find the deviation for the rest of the trials, I just move my cursor over that blue box, copy that formula down. And the same thing for each of these columns. The absolute value of the box to the left minus whatever the value was for the average. Close parentheses, enter, and then copy and paste it down. And looks like I forgot to copy that average all the way across. There we go. So that's it for calculating mean absolute deviation and averages in a Google spreadsheet.